welcome to the Man Lucrative Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Magneto 7 in the building. I'm here. Everybody that was looking for me this morning, my apologies. But this morning, whenever you're watching this, how about that? And if we're a little bit foggy, I had to change up again. I normally like to pod in the mornings, but we're working through some technical difficulties. That's why I got the different microphone. I normally like to use my other one, but this was going to do today, and we just got to get through it. You got to get through it. I want this to be a learning lesson too, though. This is a learning lesson because a lot of people, if they would have gone through all of the mess that I done gone through today. They said, nah, you know what? I'm just not going to shoot. I'm done. I'm not going to do shoot no podcast. Guess what? Not me. I'm still here. I might as well call Dawkins and Fred Hammond and all that. I'm still here. I'm here. Let me go through all of my chats right quick. We are going to talk for a little bit. Goliath, I don't know. Y'all let me know how it sounds on y'all's end, because on my end, it sounds real foggy kind of. But y'all let me know how it sounds on y'all end. But anyway, Goliath, what up, big dog? Tyrone June, what up? Bobski, what up? Lost Life Blackwood, what up? Landlord Payne, what up? Derek, what up? Sounds good to you. Okay, all right. Well, I like for my joints to be crispy. Now, what's happening right now in my ears in the studio? Everything is just like, it's like too crispy. I don't have no bottoms. I don't have no highs. I don't have nothing. It's just like, it's just there. It's just there. All right. So anyway, wife said blue. Okay, blue. Okay. But this, again, what I wanted to say, this is a learning lesson. Most people would have just not shot nothing today. They just would have went on about their business. Guess what? I still got to get it done. First off, this episode is brought to you by Safe Tire in Tucker, Georgia. If you need some tires, you need a tune-up, you need an oil change, you need your tires rotated, tell them I sent you from the Man Lucrative Podcast. Huh? You don't bite the hand that feeds you. You got to still do the content. You still got to do it. So, everybody, all my podcasters out there that quit, salute to y'all too. Salute to everybody. Just because I know, and only my family, my family in-house, and maybe a few close friends really know how much it takes to do this stuff, to do content, to do podcasting, to do the beats. Like, I ain't gonna front. I'm gonna let y'all know off the rip, this might be a short pod. I do have like a long list of stuff that I do want to talk about. First off, I want to start with that Jerry Springer documentary. Oh. I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit, but we got some shenanigans to get to first. But what I was gonna say is this. It's been a tough time for me for the past couple of weeks, as far as looking at the analytics, looking at what's going to work, looking at how I need to pivot. And y'all know me. I try to pivot every 6 months, every 3 to 6 months. I try to do a pivot. The pivot might be a different type of content. I might need to post a little bit more per day. I might need to do a little bit more lives. I try to pivot based off of what's working with my analytics. So as of recently, I've noticed a lot more people is coming to the YouTube. Everybody on YouTube, what up? But everybody on YouTube, y'all have really been coming through, and I did not realize. I'm gonna tell y'all this, and this might be a lesson learned. Maybe not. Maybe you take it what you want to take it. But what I've noticed is the more I do the beat posts, right? And I call it the beat post, not to minimize it, just to kind of put it in this segment right here. But the more I do the beat posts on Instagram, I saw some of the numbers jump. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I go with it. Right? And y'all know I love my claps. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. But I noticed the beat post was always jumping on IG. And I never posted beat posts on YouTube. Again, like I said, this might be a teachable lesson. Maybe not. Maybe it's on you, however you want to take it. But I never took to YouTube to post the beats, because I said, if I post the beats and I'm trying to sell the podcast, then I don't know how that'll line up. And that made me not post beats the whole year, maybe about 2 years. About 2 years I never posted beats. Now last year I started going hard posting beats on Instagram. This year I started posting in 2025. I'm talking about this year, 2025. I said, you know what? It's time for a pivot. I see my YouTube is a little bit stagnant, and this is the stuff. This is stuff that us content creators got to be realistic about. If you know something ain't working and that joint need to change up a little bit, yo, go ahead and start making the change. Start making the pivot. For me, is it hella uncomfortable? Yes. It is the most uncomfortable thing in the world to do. But I said, all right, we're going to get out. We're going to do something a little bit different. So I started posting beats on YouTube. All right. Keep in mind, most of the time I post podcast clips. I think the most I did was when the whole election and all that stuff was going on. When I started posting those numbers were going up because I was posting some different takes based on me being a black man and my stance and all that stuff, right? So I said, you know what? 2025, it's time to pivot a little bit more. Let me post some beats on YouTube. The YouTube beats is starting to do more numbers than the IG numbers. And when I say more numbers, I'm talking about how much money you make. you can't minimize the bread that you make off of this. So I'm gonna tell you this: if you look at the IG numbers and what you will bring in from your content, and you look at TikTok numbers, and then you look at YouTube numbers and what you would make from your actual content, it's no comparison. It's no comparison. And also with YouTube, and this is not a YouTube ad, nothing like that, but I'm just letting y'all know where I am. Y'all know I like to try to be as transparent as possible. If I'm having a vulnerable moment, I'm going to talk to y'all about it. If I'm having a moment where I'm trying to second guess some things, I might talk to y'all about it. But I always talk to my lucrative community. Yeah. Hey, what up? Lucrative community at the building. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? But anyway, I said I'm going to start pivoting, start posting beats on YouTube, starting to do some numbers. Today I had a guy from, I think, Germany or Australia reach out, said he wanted me to produce some records. And this is just from me this is from me posting just this week. I just started posting on YouTube this week. So I want to challenge everybody, if you have been in the same whirlwind of posting a certain type of content, maybe start to change up. And I do know, I think my wife was telling me about how everybody from TikTok is starting to come over to YouTube and they're trying to find their different platforms where they can live and exist. I will say this: YouTube is one of the granddaddies of them all. And I think the way that YouTube is set up, and I might do like an instructional video and just post it just to have it up there. But the way YouTube is set up, once you get to the point of monetization, now you can kind of keep up with your, not only your dollar amounts, but you can also keep up with all your analytics. You can keep up with the different places the people are tuning in from, how long they're looking at your videos, all that stuff, right? So that's why I say I want to challenge you. Maybe start posting over there. Now, it's going to feel stale. When you first start going over there, it's going to feel like, hey, it's ghost town. It's going to feel like blah. Because most of the people that's there have been there for a long time. Most of the people that's there have been there for a long time. And it's going to be a little pivot. But anyway, it's time to change up. 2025, we here. So, first off, let me see what I got on the list. A few of y'all sent me the Roseanne thing, and I was like, I might listen to it. I'm going to show y'all this. And this is some of the most hideous content I ever seen in my life. It is nasty. It's nasty work. Let me pull it up right quick and y'all can see. Derek, what up, big dog? What up? I'm trying to find the clip. Where we at? Roseanne. You know, now this is the thing. Before I play this song, I've not been a person that's tried to talk on my stance on any politics. I've tried to keep me personally out of it, and I try to dissect everybody's standpoint based off of their policies, based off of their effect on the economy, based off of their effect on our creative economy. Like, I try to do it from that standpoint. So with this video, this is the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna pull this up on the screen so y'all can see this right quick. Let me see. It says unable to share. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Try again. We're going to do this. Oh. Yo, Goliath, you got to help me out, dog. I think I could play it. I'll play some of the song. Since I can't play it on the screen, I'll play some of the song. This is Roseanne and Tom McDonald. Roseanne Barr and Tom McDonald. This is...
We won, man, it's done, too bad. Boo-hoo, so sad. Now your daddy's home. We won.
You know what? I wanted to hate this joint. Now that I hear it in the headphones, if you listen to it without watching the video, I could definitely hear it in the Fast and Furious. This is like very syncable. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna play it though. Listen.
You cry, we laugh, we wave the flag. Now your daddy's home. Thank God that we're back. Couldn't take another 4 years. That's a wrap. I can take a bath in your tears. That's a fact. You got lipstick all on.
Okay, alright. Alright. Listen. Yo, everybody that's watching this on playback, please don't throw rocks. Just hear me out for a second. Just hear me out 1 second. Hey, Goliath, you know I'm out the cape. I got a cape for it. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't. Okay, so the video, if y'all go back and try to watch the video, and again, I'm not promoting Roseanne at all, but if you go back and watch the video, it's a video with Roseanne Barr and the Tom McDonald guy. Or is that his name? McDonald? Tom McDonald. It's a video of him and her going down the street. They got the flags and all that stuff. I'm not going to say what type of flags because I always get the algorithm suppressed when I talk about this stuff. So I'm not going to say what type of flag. But they just got the flags. They got the cars. They got the Lamborghini. And it's the Hicks, right? It's the Hicks. Speaking in code, it's the Hicks. And there is rapping, but it looks like it's some coonery. Ain't gonna front. It looks like some coonery. Unfortunately, I definitely see the song working. Let me see where it's at. It's at 2 million already. That kind of don't matter no more. That don't matter. Also, I did want to talk about the Drake dispute and what all that meant for UMG. I think is somewhat hilarious. I'm sorry, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Because this is the thing, we kept talking about this over and over, and I didn't want to make it this a Drake segment. Like, I have more stuff to talk about than Drake. But one thing I kept talking about in probably the last 5 or 6 episodes. Well, no, it's been a while since we talked about Drake. Thank God. But we're going to talk about it today. When I look at the Drake suit and I saw how he dropped it and all the stuff that's going on with UMG, my first thing was always, why did he ever go back and take more money? Why did he keep re-upping on the deal? I kept saying it. He kept re-upping on the deal, and people kept giving him the money. Lucian kept throwing him the bag, and he kept catching it. He said, hey, I'm playing for the Yankees. He's catching the bag every time. So I'm like, okay, if Drake keeps doing this, and now he's to the point where, let's be real. Let's be real. Drake is on the downside of his career. He's at the downside of his career. We've all seen the same thing go on over and over for every artist. Same thing happens for every artist on the back end of their career. Let's think about it. Think about it like this. On the front end, it's all hustle, technically hustle. It's hustle. I'm gonna go on the tour dates with different people. Wayne, he gonna be my mentor. Baby gonna be my mentor. We got all this stuff. I've signed the Cash Money. I got everybody from Texas. I got what's the dude? Jay Prince. We got Jay Prince out here, and he's protecting me. I got all this mob ties. As we kept saying, right? Got all that going. Great, got it. You give me God's plan. You give me all them hits. You give me all the singing bangers. You give me all this stuff. And now. And this is what my issue was with Drake from the jump. I felt like when he got in a position and he did the Jay-Z is, I'm going to go find the next hottest artist. I'm going to stand beside the next hottest artist. And while I stand beside them, they're going to keep me alive. They're going to keep me hot. Right? And then it's going to make it look like I big broed them and I got them on. Great. I got it. The issue is he did too much of that on the backside of his career. So now, y'all tell me, everybody in the chat, I don't care if you're on Twitch, you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, wherever you're watching me from right now, y'all let me know, who was the last big artist that Drake co-signed and got them hot? Who was the last big artist that Drake co-signed and then got them hot? I'll give you a second, because I got a few people in mind. I got a few people in mind. Now, one of these people, I think, kind of damaged the backside of this career. It damaged it a little bit. And I was gonna wait in the chat, wait for y'all to tell me who y'all think. Who was the last person that Drake made hot? You can go through the timeline. When the Migos came out, they went and got a Drake feature. They did the uh uh was it the no Versace no Versace but no that was the one. If you ask me, if you were to ask me, I think Drake came in and he got Sexy Red even hotter. Now the issue was Sexy Red didn't stand on anything that most black people wanted to stand for, especially in this economy. Especially with how everybody is kind of trying to pull together. And we talking about black wealth. We talking about Black Wall Street. We talking about black people starting to do farms and all this stuff. I'm sorry, this is Blackout Fest. It is what it is, right? But we're in this economy right now. Why would you go over there and co-sign somebody like a Sexy Red, right? Now, if you were to ask me, going through my conspiracy bag, I think he went over and tried to co-sign the Sexy Red situation because the label told him Sexy Red is who we think is up next, and we want to perpetuate this image and this narrative in that community. That's what I think. That's what I think. But of course, they're not gonna tell him that. They're gonna say, "Oh no, she's hot." Even with the dude, he got on my nerves so bad. What's the dude name? Johnson. Johnson. The dude that's the CEO of Apple Music, and he went over and did something else. I can't think of his name right now. But even how he talked about Sexy Red and how phenomenal she was, and she's raw. She got all of the. She got the full. But no, she's trash. She's trash. Everything she stands for is trash. And the funny thing is, I wish there were more black people that were in them offices making certain moves. Let's just call a thing because what I think has been happening, and this is for me pulling from the Roseanne Barr situation, is all the same to me. All the same. What happens is a certain group of people that have a big bag. It might be a hedge fund company. It might be a sports agent. It might be a guy that just signed this contract in the NFL. They got these big bags, right? They say, all right, what can we do to make this bag last as long as we can make it last? We can put some money over there. They're going to go through the regular stuff first. Stocks, trading, maybe some of the real estate funds and all this stuff. They're going to go through that first. And then they're going to have their homeboy say, look, I got so-and-so over here. If you got about 100,000, we can get him popping. You get $1 million off 100,000. They get the bag from those type of guys, right? The only issue is when money people have gotten involved with music people over the years, there's a change that happened with the quality of music and the narratives that they tried to push in the communities, right? I know up front we thought that it was cool, and even me, I love NWA. Goliath says people love trash. Do they though? I don't. So this is the thing, and I wanted to save this until later, but I can talk about it now. So earlier, I had to go out and get some pizza. Now I am in the fasting season. I don't make that a secret. I invited everybody out. I said, look, if y'all want to fast too, our church is fasting. Go ahead and sign up. It's the right, all that stuff, right? Got it. Boom. So we're in the middle of a fasting season, but my daughters are kind of not fasting, right? So they're kids, 6 and 9 years old. They gotta eat. So my wife said, why don't you go ahead and get a pizza for them, and we get this, we eat our stuff, whatever. Cool. Boom. Now keep in mind, I told y'all our area is we're still semi gentrification eyeing. Gentrifying, that's what it is. We're in the middle of gentrifying, so we might have white, black, white, black, white, black checkers. That's what the neighborhood is right now, right? But all of the infrastructure for the area is still somewhat hood, especially if you go up the street, you got one block for about maybe 4 or 5 miles is just hood. That part hood. Then you go one more block up, got $1 million houses. That's how it is up here. Well, down here in Georgia. So I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna go to Little Caesars. Now y'all know this is the maybe I just have a different perception for people. Maybe I just believe more in people than they believe in themselves. I believe more. But anyway, I go to the Little Caesars. The business in me said, "Nah, I'm not gonna wait in my car. I'm gonna go in because they got the drive-through." I said, "I'm gonna go inside the Little Caesars and I'm gonna let them go ahead and give me the pizza. I just want to scope out the scene. I want to see what the vibe is like. I just want to see. This is still somewhat our area, right? Cool. Boom. I go in there. I see some Hispanic guys. I say, "Oh, okay, that's different. Got some Hispanic guys ordering some pizza. Cool." I said, "What's up?" to them. They look at me like this. I said, "Oh, no speaking English. Okay, no speaking English." so, so, and they could speak English. They just ain't want to speak to me. That's cool. High vibration. High vibration. That's me. So the first thing I did, I went into the Little Caesars. What's the first thing that y'all think of when y'all go into anybody's restaurant? The first thing I think is, yo, if I'm gonna go into the restaurant, I want you to speak to me, and when you speak to me, I'm gonna give you good energy, and then we're gonna go back and forth and say, well, yeah, can I get some of the pizza? What about them breadsticks? I might get some breadsticks. Are the wings fresh? That's the energy I want to bring, right? But I go to inside the door, they look at me like this. All of my audio listeners, I'm looking from side to side. They looking like this. And then it's a little, I don't know if it was a girl or a dude. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was. But they, that's where the they comes from. That's where the they comes from. They looked at me like in my eyes and then proceeded to walk to the back. Never acknowledged me. Like they it's like they were just like waiting for me to say, "Can I help you?" Like, no, that's your job. That's your job. So for me, that creates a hostile environment. For me, I feel like that's disrespectful. And for me, that also perpetuates the same image that's put in the music. And that's what I was gonna go back to. I think the same thing that Sexy Red and Drake did in the whole image with perpetuating a certain thing, same thing Roseanne's doing. Same thing. Everybody been done called that girl racist. They been called her that. That's nothing new, right? So for me, it's just like, okay, are you picking fun? Are you really proud of the image that you're portraying? Like, what's the deal? What's the deal? Now, if it is indeed just satire, cool. But why you got the dude with the tats with the gold grills and you got all of the stuff that looks like you're trying to be hood. It looks like you're trying to be hood, but that we know that's not the case. What is that about? What is that about? So I don't know what Roseanne's doing. I kind of don't care, but I just wanted to talk about it because y'all sent it to me. I had at least 4 of y'all to send me the Roseanne joint, so I was like, I got to go ahead and be respectful and do something. I got to do something. All right. First off, I wanted to start with this clip. I'm sure y'all can't see it. I'm sure y'all can't see it, but y'all can hear it. So let me play it, and we could talk. We could talk. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. We talked about Drake already. We don't need to talk about Drake no more. Here we go. Shouts out to Jelly Roll, big dog.
My business all the time. The TikTok era, these kids would blow up and be able to sell 2,000 tickets, but have never done a single show in their life.
Yeah.
And this agent's going, I can get y'all making $20,000 a show right now. We're going to go right in the theaters. We're going to do. And then they go meet another booking agent who's the right guy who goes, look, I think we need to go play this like 300 cap room circuit. Let's go do like 40 of these. Just get her familiar with standing on stages, looking at people in the eye. We'll put her in theaters in the spring.
Is it fuzzy? It feels fuzzy.
Next spring, we'll ramp her up and we'll put her on an amphitheater tour in 3 years with somebody. And they're like, fuck you. And they go to the agent and puts them in front of 2,000 people. And they go out and fucking blow it. And it sucks. And everybody reviews it, and the internet and all their TikTok fans review it, start arguing with each other about how bad the show is. I see it happen in my business all the time. The TikTok era, these kids would blow up and be able to...
All right, it was about to repeat. Y'all can't hear it. We got to get the audio right. So So Jelly Roll was talking about the TikTok era with the kids is blowing up pretty quick, and they get an agent that wants to get them in front of as many people as possible. But it's not necessarily about getting in front of as many people as possible as much as it is learning the craft, learning how to perform, and building a organic audience. So what he was saying is it's important for artists to not skip that part of the development, because by the time you get to uh, if you skip, I'll just say it like this: if you skip the group of people that's gonna be a 300 crowded room, if you ask me, I think you need to try to do the 50 seated venues first. I think you need to do the 50 seated venues. You need to do the coffee shops. You need to do all of the small venues first, and then start working your way up to the 300 venues, 500 venues, 1,000 seat venues, and up. Right? But what he was saying is, because a lot of the TikTok era kids that's the musicians came in and they say, look, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. They could get me in front of 10,000 people, I'm going with them. What happens is, if they did go with them and they do a show, bomb the show, because that's what's normally going to happen. You're going to bomb the show up front. You're not that good just yet. That's how it works. You got to get in the gym, work out, get all the vocals, all of that. All the rapping, all of the memorizing verses, memorizing choreography. You got to do that. That's a part of the gig. But anyway, what happens is, if they get in front of the 30,000 seated venue with very minimal knowledge on how to perform, what happens when the microphone goes out? And this is the stuff that I think is important for everybody to learn. Like, especially if you're a musician. This is one of my rules for any of the newer artists. I feel like you haven't really learned how to be an artist until you get to the point where you go to a club, or you go to somebody's church, or you go to whatever venue. They hand you the microphone, and the microphone goes out mid-performance. When the microphone goes out mid-performance, that's when you start being an artist. That's when you start being one of them people that can control the room. Because a real professional won't even flinch when the microphone goes out. They just gonna keep going, even if the microphone goes. If it starts to get to the point where it's just y'all done heard it before. Then you got the sound man like this. Hey, what is that? All of that. A true artist that's been through the mud, and they know what it feels like for a microphone to go out, or they know what it's like to have to win a room back. Those are the ones in front of them 30-seated venues. Those are the ones. Because what happens? Most of the time, you're going to give up. You're going to say, all right, my microphone went out. And then you're going to say, hey, DJ, can you restart it? That's unprofessional. That is the unprofessional part. Unless, now, if that happens in the very, very beginning of the very, very beginning of your set, all right, cool, I get it. That's a whole different situation. Actually, I might try to do some live music reviews, like in the form of live performances. What y'all think? What y'all think? I think I might do that. Live music review, live performances. That might be cool. That might be cool. But I think it's important for people to have to win the room. People pay for you to win the room. And if you don't learn how to win the room, guess what? It's a wrap. Like, it's a wrap. Case in point, this will bring me to the Jerry Springer episode, and I might call it quits. This might be a short pod. I don't know. I'm trying to stay under the hour and under. We'll see. So I started watching the Jerry Springer. What is that? I guess it's a documentary. Yeah, it's a documentary. Started watching the Jerry Springer documentary on Netflix. It's dope. If you are a content creator, or if you're not even that, if you are a business person that wants to grow your brand and that you want to just be effective, you want to get in front of as many people as possible and get them to start feeding you, watch this Jerry Springer. Watch the Jerry Springer doc. One thing notice, I think the guy name was Richard. It's a dude named Richard that was like golden. The Richard guy was, I think he was like an executive producer on the show. Y'all have to go watch it. So I'm not going to tell y'all the whole thing. I've only watched half of one episode. I ain't even watched the full thing yet. So I never knew that Jerry Springer originally had the lame show. Jerry Springer had the lame show. Then he had to do a pivot. So this is one thing, and it was some like mad points I had to bring out because I was like, yeah, I'm taking notes. And any type of content that I watch, I like to be able to take notes. That's something that I kept talking about last year too. Anything that I take in, whether it's on IG, Facebook, wherever the content lies, I try not to just look at mindless content. I try to put content inside of me. Pause. No Diddy. No Diddy. But I try to put content inside of me. I don't want to say inside of me. Feels weird. I don't like it. Inside of me. No. I like to take in. This feels weird too. Diddy just messed up everything, didn't it? Diddy just hey, everything is sweet. But anyway, any piece of content that I take in, I try to find some way I can apply it to my business, one of my businesses, right? Somewhere. This Jerry Springer episode, yo, please, y'all go watch it. The first thing that I noticed was the Richard guy came in and he looked at Jerry Springer's show from behind the scenes. Because I don't know, they never show us that view. But if y'all look at the show on a documentary, it was like a whole like a sound room that was on the back of the room for where Jerry Springer was doing the show. So all the people was down there in the audience. It was a sound room in the back and then the stage in the front, almost like a church, So the Richard guy came in and he was watching the Jerry Springer episode. He was like, yo, this is trash. He said, who is watching this? Ain't nobody watching this right here. So what the Richard guy, and this is something that I realized too, and I've had to get comfortable with this over time. Have not always been this way. But you have to be okay, start to be okay with people calling your stuff trash. If it's trash, it's trash. Because I think the more we're okay with people calling our stuff trash, the more we'll do something about it. We'll do something about it a little bit faster. We'll be a little bit less hesitant to do the pivot. When people say, look, I like that, that's mid. Right? Cool. So the Richard guy comes up, tells Jerry Springer, he said, look, man, this show, you're a charismatic guy, but the guy that you are on screen ain't the same guy that we see behind the stage when you get makeup done and all that stuff done. Let me executive produce a few shows for you. And let's see how it goes. So Jerry Springer said what? No. He said no, nope. So the Richard guy said it took him a little bit of convincing. He said, but what we did, I showed him the show and he said, this is gonna be a circus. And the Richard guy said, that's what I'm talking about. I forgot to point out the Richard guy that was the executive producer for the Jerry Springer show comes from writing tabloid headlines. He comes from writing tabloid headlines. Golden. And this is something that I realized too. Y'all know I like to bring out the things that's like a reoccurring cycle in content, in business, in family, and whatever. I like to find, what is it called? I guess a trend. Not a trend. Just like y'all know how people say fashion never dies. It's always gonna come back around at some point. That I try to look for that in everything, business, content, everything, right? So when he said something about him coming from writing tabloids, the tabloid headline, I was like, oh, that's just like writing the headlines in the reels and writing the headlines on the description of your YouTube thumbnails. It's all the same. It's the same thing. It's just reinvented in a different form. So I was like, all right, cool. So he came in. He gave Jerry Springer some different headlines he was going to do. Like, my sister married my cousin, and my cousin had a baby by my sister and my brother. It was weird. Just weird stuff. So then he had witches on there. He had nudists on there. And it was just all of this stuff came from his background in the tabloids and writing headlines. But what started to happen is I didn't even know that Jerry Springer was a broadcaster for like the news channel up front. He was one of them. Like Jerry Springer had already won, and this is a golden point right here. Jerry Springer had already won like an Emmy for being the journalist of the year. And he had already got some type of accolades, but when he jumped over into this space and he's doing his own show every day, talk daytime TV, now you got to change up. You got to figure out what's different. This is when I think people start to mess up. Because I think what happens with people is we get the opportunity. We work so hard to try to build the platforms that we have. And then once the opportunity comes, it requires a different level of commitment. Like me doing the podcast late at night, almost 11 o'clock at night, just for y'all. But it requires a different type of commitment when you start getting people to buy into the dream that you've come up with for yourself. It's a different type of commitment. So Jerry Springer goes up, and back then, y'all know how we got analytics, so we can see stuff digitally, right? We see 5 people watched this video in LA and 100 people watched it in Canada. We can personally see this from this thing right here. We can see it from the phone, right? We can see it right here. But back in the day, they had print sheets, like on a fax machine, like a rotating print sheet. What that print sheet would show them was the ratings and how the percentage of people that was watching the show every day. It was the coolest thing. Again, if you are in the content space, go watch this. Go watch this. All right. So he was going looking at the Jerry Springer ratings before the Richard guy. He was doing daytime television, and then they kept knocking his timeline back. So he would go from, I'm gonna say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock at night, and he had landed all the way at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Cause the ratings was bad during the daytime. Ratings was trash. So the Richard guy says, well, shoot, we already turning lemons into lemonade. Richard said, well, we already at nighttime TV, and ain't nobody really watching it right now anyway. So what we could do is we could just try out some of my ideas. So Jerry says, all right, cool. We could just try out your ideas and we keep it going. What started to happen is what we know as that Jerry Springer legacy today. Because if you think about it, Jerry Springer's he's before Wendy Williams. He was before a lot of people. He's right around that Oprah timeline. So I think Oprah was at the top. She was getting like 14 million viewers per day. And he started to exceed and pass her to the point where, I think it was at NBC, but to the point where the news channel started to give him 2 slots. If you got 2 slots, you get paid 2 different times. That's how that worked. So I never knew that. All of this is new information. Like I said, this is dope, but it's new information. So the Richard guy morphed the Jerry Springer brand into the brand that we knew it as today. Right now, the main thing I wanted to bring out, because there was some key elements, and I might come back next week after watching another episode and bring out some more nuggets. But it's a lot. It's a whole lot in there. The first thing I want to bring out is finding people that can expose your weaknesses without humiliating you. Get around people that can find and help you find your weaknesses without trying to belittle you and help you build it up. That's a very important element, because the Richard guy, he respected Jerry Springer for all of the stuff that he had already done as a news broadcaster. He was like, okay, he's already won an Emmy. He already got this type of job. I think he had already been like a mayor or something of a town. Like, he's already done a lot of stuff. He done a lot of stuff already. So he said, all right, I have to respect him for that. But this show is trash. This original show is trash. I think he had like old ladies talking about like cats and trying to save stuff. It was just weird. It's just old people stuff. Like super old people stuff though. So he changed it up, made him younger. He made him cool, made him take the tie down, all that stuff. And it was just a frenzy. It was a whole Jerry Springer frenzy. But he identified the weakness. Jerry Springer was vulnerable enough to listen to him expose that weakness, and they did something about it. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do without getting in our feelings. And I think that's one of the main elements that came out. Let me see. I got some more notes. Yeah, know when you have something that's not working. Executive producer, get people paid better. And that's the other thing. All right, so this is another element. I think because we are still not still, we are pressing harder on the content generation. Now it's our job to get people to pay attention. Right? I get that. It's our job to get people to pay attention. But the other side of that is this. After we get them to pay attention, how are we monetizing that attention? How? How are we monetizing the attention? If you ask me, I'm going to encourage everybody to start a business or to start a product line or to do something to spearhead into that attention. So, case in point, if I saw a musician and they wanted to come up with the idea to sell notebook paper, that's the easiest thing to sell. You want to sell notebook paper? All right, cool. You just need to go up to enough schools, ask them how much paper do they need, and you fulfill the order with the paper that you're going to sell and make $100,000. It sounds easy because it is easy. But what happens is we want to come up with businesses that don't have a utility. And where we're starting to go with our economy, it's a lot of people that's going to cut back on the miscellaneous spending. Y'all know how when you do your taxes, are you doing your profit and loss statements at the end of the month? Everybody is trying to cut down on those, and they're trying to invest more in the things that's going to help them make more money. Well, I would advise every musician, or not just musicians, anybody that's wanting to start a business, I would advise you to find a business or start a business that is utility based. This is one utility. If a person is starting a company and they're selling water heaters, guess what? Every house got a water heater in it. Every last house got a water heater in it. I guarantee it. Whether it's electric, whether it's gas, whether it's tankless, every house in the world has a water heater. Guess what? All you got to do is attempt to sell in one neighborhood, and you can have your 100,000. Maybe if it ain't 100, you can have your 50,000. But what happens is we come up with businesses that's not utility based, and when I say utility, something people need. We got to come up with the businesses that people need, not the stuff that we want them to have. That's most of our creative brain. That's what we like to do. We like to come up with businesses that we want people to have. We want them to have the whatever, like this. I like this little bit. This is an air gun. This is pretty cool. I like this, right? But what if I said, okay, I could get these little air duster joints for $1 and some change. I could take the label off, put my label on top. Air is air in the can. Air is air in the can. It is what it is. So if I paid $1 for this, I could just mark it up to $1.75, make the 75 on the back end. Now I can make a profit. And guess what? Everybody with a computer, everybody that got cars, everybody got something electrical is going to need this bottle of air at some point. And now I don't have to necessarily sell nothing to nobody. I don't have to sell it to y'all. I can say, look, I got air in the can. So you got a computer. You got a phone. I got air in the can. How often does your little portal get clogged? Especially if you got iPhone. Everybody with iPhones, y'all know what I'm talking about. But the little jack starts to get like hair fur in it, and it starts to get like particles inside the little charging port. Guess what? You can go to everybody. You ain't even got to go to them physically. That's how cold the game is now. You ain't got to go to them physically. You can just post the post and say, look, everybody with an iPhone, at some point your port is going to get clogged up. I sell air in the can. You can buy it by the cases. You can buy it by the whatever, blah, 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 blah. Buy the air in the can, and I'm going to give you 50% off. They ain't got to know that you marked it up to 75%. But I'm going to give you 50% off if you buy a case. Them joints going to fly off the shelf. You're meeting a need for a specific group, and not necessarily just iPhone. This is the coldest thing about starting businesses that's utility based. When you start a business that's utility based, your customer is never going nowhere. They're never going. They might try to find a cheaper price, but what happens if you have a business and you're superb on customer service, which I have a customer service book coming out soon. Stay tuned. But what if you're a beast in customer service and you have a can air business you are, especially if you can stay stocked, you're easier to call than for them to order it on Amazon and then for them to get it sent through. And even if you get people from overseas that you just built a great customer service tool, yo, you're winning. You will forever win, right? But I think that's going to be some of the changes that we need to be a part of moving into 2025, 2026 and beyond, right? I was having a meeting with my superintendent about 2 days ago now, and he and I were talking about AI technology and what's that going to mean in our particular field, which is water, like the water industry. And I said, you know what? The way I am, I'm always looking for what is going to disturb the industry. What is going to disturb the industry that I'm in, and how can I be a part of it? Can I be a part of it in the form of partnering with somebody, or can I be a part of it from the standpoint of creating a new something? But how you got to be a part of what's going to disrupt your industry. Cause this is what's happening, and he was telling me too about a lot of engineers, and I didn't realize that's what it was. But he was saying even with his friend groups, and we're talking about the 100,000 to 200,000 to 300,000 earners in the world. Those guys, those are the people that he's around a lot. He said, "Yo, I got a lot of engineering friends is like clenching, scared for life, because they don't understand how." All of this stuff with AI technology is going to disrupt the industry. And for me and him, the funny thing is, I think that's the beauty. And that's what I was telling him. The beauty in going through some BS in life, the beauty in some BS in life is you've lived through the internet change. Before the internet, you lived through, you got to be at the house at a certain time because that phone call might come at a certain time. The youngins won't remember having to be at the house and the phone got the cord that's hooked to the wall and you got to talk to the people like that. Somebody might come sit in front of you. You can't walk to the other room. You got to sit right there with that cord hung up on that wall. Or even around the same time, dial up internet or beepers and pagers. That is the beauty in the older guy, and this is the beauty in the older people. We've lived through a few different changes in technology and different industries, right? That's the beauty in it. Now, the hardest part that we have to all adapt to is finding the disruption. Finding the disruption. Goliath says we're about to disrupt the industry for sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I'm looking for what's going to disrupt the business. And this is what pisses me off about people that say I make beats. The people say, "Hey, bro, I'm hard. I make beats." I'm like, "All right, bet. Good job." All right, all right. How many beats have you sold? But anyway. Nerdy, what up, big dog? I ain't seen you in a minute. What up? Englishman, what up, big dog? DJ, Chris, I ain't seen y'all in a minute. I miss all y'all, man. I miss y'all. But I'm looking for what's going to disrupt the industry. Every industry, though. I don't think that we have to pigeonhole ourselves to one side of the business. Just because we're the most familiar with that side of the business. I think we have to start morphing into the intricacies. I'm a firm believer. And I don't remember who I was telling this to. I was telling this to somebody. But I'm a firm believer that everything in life is connected on some level. Whether it's the cycles, whether it's timing, whether it's even technology advances. All of it's connected. If you look at the basics, and I think Myron Golden spoke about this too, but I'll reiterate it. You look at the basics of the four seasons, right? The four seasons, you feel like the season actually is. You feel like it actually is. You think about the wintertime. It's cold. It's slow. Ain't nothing really popping. Ain't nothing growing. You just grinding. You like, all right, I gotta get it done. Let me. Whew, my knees, boys. Wintertime, right? Then you start going into the springtime. Springtime makes you feel like, okay, it's something I can get going. And summer's coming soon, but I need to do something right now. I need to plant these tomatoes. I need to try to plant these watermelon, because by the time the summer comes, I want to be partaking on the stuff that I just planted. Great, but that applies in so many other areas. Summertime, we celebrating. We outside. We outside for the girls. Hot girl summer. For the families, we going on vacation. We going to the beach. We going all that stuff. Fall time comes back around. What fall? Stuff's getting slow again. It gets slow again. But if you look at those cycles exist in every area of life. In business, in family, in relationships, in health, in finances. It's the same thing over and over and over. And I think the more we can identify the cycle, the more we can kind of navigate without all of the headaches that we have. Because I ain't gonna front. I think that is a part of what makes me feel like everything is gonna be okay. When I have the other knowledge of understanding, this season resembles that season. And last time I went through that season, I reacted this way. Don't do that. Stop. Just don't do it that way. That's what I had to learn for myself. Because what I used to do, and I ain't gonna front, that is breaking habits. For me, is not necessarily a generational curse. It is a generational bad habit. Generational bad habit. That's what I would call it. But for me, I would used to get in a crunch and say, all right, I just need to go. I need to go to the pawn shop. You go to the pawn shop. I can pawn this. I can pawn this. I can pawn this. I can pawn. And I was trying to get the money. I was like, yo, I don't know no other way. I don't know no other way to respond to this broke season except for go to the pawn shop. That was my go-to. There was a quick fix. I can get it done right quick. And I didn't think about the later on. I didn't think about that part until insert family. You insert family, it's a different cycle. You got to change the cycle. You got to change the way you look at the seasons. So then when the family is interjected, I said, okay, somebody got to have a job. we got to have a decent 9 to 5. We got to have something going. Everybody you got to do something. What we going to do? Right? But what happened was when the broke seasons came up with the family, I had to start thinking about it in a different way, because it's not just me, or it's not just me and her. Now it's us 4. Or at first it was us 3, right? So what broke to me with 4 people, 3 people including myself, 4, what's broke to me now is not what was broke to me as a single man. I had to change up the way I look at it. So what that looks like is this. All right. No matter what, you got to try to make sure you keep $300 to $500 to $1,000 somewhere, or be able to touch it somewhere. $300 to $500 to $1,000 somewhere. I don't care if it's family and friends. I don't care if it's in your account. Preferably it's in your personal account. I don't like to have to borrow no money from nobody. Preferably it's in your personal account. Preferably. But what happens is when certain things come up and it's an extra $100 or extra $200 is needed to be spent over here, guess what? We got a little something over there. We got a little something to touch. All right, we got that. And you don't have to go to the pawn shop trying to pawn your way out of a bad situation. And for me, that's what I've noticed about my people. My people have been really bad at trying to brace the hit of poverty. We've been really bad at trying to brace the hit of poverty. And it's not our fault, technically. It's not all our fault. Some of it is our teaching's fault. How we learned how to do life. The way we learn how to do life, that is the deal breaker. That's what it's been for a while. So what happens is you have to maybe do like I've done over time. I don't listen to the radio. I stopped listening to the radio probably in 2021, 2022. It was before the pandemic. So maybe 2021, 2020, somewhere around there. Stopped listening to the radio. No radio. Right? Because what I started to realize is this. And it's the coldest thing ever though. If you notice, the records that's played on the radio in the morning and in the afternoon, in the morning and the afternoon, a lot of those records that's played are the records that's made to just keep you in a certain cycle of trying to achieve happiness, trying to achieve celebration, or trying to have a reminiscing moment. That's why they might play the oldies joints at in the evening. They might play Sexy Red in the daytime. In the morning on the way to work, they want you to be hype enough to go into the office and deliver on your job, whatever your job is, right? But I took myself out of that thing and started to think about it a little bit different. Okay, if I use every bit of my time on the way to work, any dead time that I have, I try to listen to podcasts. Any dead time. Now, I will say, all of the podcasts I listen to ain't going to be business. Sometimes I'm listening to a podcast so I can learn charisma, because you can learn it. Sometimes I listen to other podcasts, so I can learn how to initiate a conversation. Sometimes I listen to a podcast so I can learn how to initiate a subject, right? Because one thing I really dislike about the new podcasters is when they get somebody on a pod, and I've done this too. Keep in mind, I've done the same thing. That's why I don't interview too many people. But they get somebody on the podcast, and the person that they get has all of this wealth of knowledge. But the person that's interviewing the guy or the woman is not letting that person speak. And they're out talking them, and they're doing all of this stuff, and they're doing all this stuff. And it's just like, yo, I thought you had an interview. I thought you were interviewing them. Like, what are you doing? So for me, I've learned that from looking at other people's podcasts. I've learned different timing and all of this, even scheduling out a show, which I don't know is when I do these podcasts, I normally have the whiteboard, I have notes, I have everything, all of the different pressure points that I need to touch, even breaking points that I need to have in the pod for me to put in a read, whether I'm doing a commercial for somebody and I'm posting it in post-production. I have all this stuff scheduled out, right? But I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn the timing. So I want to challenge everybody, especially we still in the first year of the month. First month of the year. I always be messing that up. We're still in the first month of the year. I want to challenge you to start finding, especially if you don't have nobody in your circle just yet. And speaking of, if you need some people in your circle to hold you accountable, I want to invite you out. I have something called the Lucrative Community. This is a community of people that I coach every Sunday night, 9 o'clock, every Sunday night. And we're chopping it up. We're talking about business. We're talking about their plans that they want to have going on. And then it's going to be other things that we do to support each other. It's support, it's accountability. That's the whole Lucrative Community. If you're interested, link is going to be in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, you watch this on Instagram, link is in the bio right now. But I want to challenge you. Find out what your soft spots are. What are your weakest points? And a lot of the stuff, we can learn new skills, which I like to compound skills. I like to compound skills. What compounding skills looks like is this. Say you want to do a podcast. That's your first idea. Oh, you know what? I think I might want to do a podcast. It might be pretty cool. The first thing you need to start thinking about is what type of podcast you want to do. What type of effect do you want to have on people? What do you want them to say about your podcast after they turn it off and they say, man, I got something out of that. That was pretty cool. Or do you just want to shoot a different type of content like the Drewski or like the Kasana? All of this stuff, you can decide this stuff today. This on you. But I challenge you. Find what you want to talk about. what type of pod or content do you want to shoot. Once you figure out how you want to shoot it, put it in your schedule. I'm going to have this shot by the next 2 weeks. And this is where lucrative community would come in place, because I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm gonna be like, yo, did you do what you said you gonna do just yet? And they be getting me too. I love it. I love it. They get me too though. But I say, are you going, okay, so you're gonna release a pod in the next 2 weeks. Cool. Guess what? The next coaching call, I'm gonna ask you, what did you do? What did you do to get towards the goal of releasing that first podcast? This is when the skills compounding starts to happen. You say, well, I learned that. And some of this stuff should be one day, like a 1 day situation, where you say, I learned that I need this type of camera. And for me to get that type of camera, I need to do a little bit of overtime on my job. If I do overtime on my job, that'll pay for this camera. Once I pay for this camera, I need to learn what software I need to use. Once I learn what software I need to use, now I can start figuring out what platform I can use to put the podcast on. And you start, what's happening is the whole step of the way, you're starting to compound different skills. So, and this all just comes from you saying that you want to shoot a pod or you want to do a certain type of content. You learn how to work a camera, you learn how to work audio, you learn how to do some type of sequencing and creating the show. You learn how to executive produce a show, because you got to have something to talk about. You learn how to do a target audience and to market to a certain group of people. You learn all of these skills from just this one thing. Said you want to do a podcast or you want to do some type of content. Stack the skills. So what that does is that makes you a more attractive candidate for anybody that wants to do business with you in the future. That makes you more attractive because they say, okay, well, look, you got this, and this. Oh, wow, it's crazy. Case in point, y'all know I love customer service. I love people, right? I had to go to a HOA development. I don't know where it was. It's somewhere in Alpharetta. And when I first got there, and I like to do this. This is fun. It's fun for me because I like to see people's reaction. So shameless enjoyment that I get. So I go to the place. They call us for a leak. They say, oh, well, we got a leak. Can you help us find out what the leak is? Because I think it might be on y'all side. So if it's on y'all side, can y'all fix it? I said, I'm going to come up there. We're going to check everything out, and I'll let you know what I find. The type of person that I am, I'm going to try to be strategic in finding what the issue is and try to resolve the issue. Now, if it's something that I can resolve pretty quickly, I'm going to try to get it done. If it's something that takes a little bit more brain power, I'm going to take the extra time and try to dissect every point of view before I give a full response. That's me. So I'm going through, I'm looking at different parts of the lot. I say, okay, you got a hydrant right there. You got this right here. You got this right here. And I'm looking at them like, everything I'm looking at makes no sense why you got a leak over there. Everything makes no sense. The guy says, well, we do have a vault. What a vault is a big old cement box that sits inside of the ground that houses meters, it houses water lines. Sometimes it houses sewer lines. It's a lot of stuff that goes in those vaults. So I look at him and said, you should have told me this from the first part. You should have told me this when I first got here. So he says, I'm sorry. And this is an older white guy, by the way. So he opens up the vault. They have it hidden by like fake golf carpet and all this stuff, like golf turf. That's what it was. Hidden by it. So I look at it. I said, no, ain't no leak in there. No. So the guy says, by this time I'm there for about an hour trying to find their issue, trying to figure out how to resolve their issue, right? So I'm looking, and they start talking to me. They say, man, you are amazing. I ain't never experienced no customer service like this in my life. This is amazing. So the guy starts reaching his pocket. And it happens all the time. Anytime that I go on call, I spend an extended amount of time with my customers. They normally try to tip me, always. So he reaches in his pocket. He say, man, this service was amazing. Keep in mind, the issue that they had, I personally couldn't resolve that issue. They had to go hire somebody to come in to fix it because that wasn't my job. My job was to just go check to see if it's a leak, but I did more than just to check to see if it was a leak. I tried to help them figure out where the leak could be coming from, who could it be coming from, who they could call, all this stuff. One guy reaches in his pocket and said, "Man, I got to give you some money. So give me a 20." The other guy said, "Well, let me go to the house. I'm gonna give you a little bit of money too." So he goes to the house. He finds 20. He goes, "Give it to me too." And as I'm putting my stuff up in my truck, he says, "So do you do anything else? Like, what else do you do?" So then I tell him, "Well, yeah, I'm a musician and I won a Grammy for producing Eminem." They're like, "What?" So it's just like, wow. What? And the thing is, I think a lot of people, and this is what I want a lot of us to get to the point of realizing, yo, when you're with somebody, let that time that you're with them be about that time. Don't let the time be about all of these other things, all of these the outside stuff. Don't let it be about that. Figure out how you can exist in that certain space and make the best of that space. I've learned how to do that over time. So every time I go to, if it's like shouts out to Hugh Brown in Florida, we doing a project. Shouts out to him. But every time I'm talking to an artist and a few other people too, I try to make sure that when I'm doing business with them, or we're in the studio session, or we're on a virtual coaching call, I want to make that time about them. I'm going to respect them for the time that they either paid for or they need it from me. And I'm not going to try to crowd it with all of the extra stuff. I want to challenge all of y'all to figure out what that looks like in your space. Find it. What that looks like in your space. Sometimes it might be, especially all of the creative people, all y'all got to do is just give the people what y'all want from them. Like, give them what you want from them. Treat thy neighbor, all that stuff, right? If you are a person that's always dismissive and you're not trying to contribute or help anybody, I would watch that. I would try to figure out, okay, this is something that I do consistently, and how can I fix it? If I can fix it just from doing a little bit more, giving a little bit more, that's on you. Whatever that looks like for you, that's on you, right? And I had a few other things, but we ain't gonna talk about it today. I still did an hour. Y'all know me. I just started running off at the mouth and just keep going. But we got a few bills to pay. First off, I want to make sure that I invited y'all out to the masterclass. Masterclass should be at the end of this month. You're going to be the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st of February. Come through. The masterclass will consist of music production. It's going to consist of AI technology. It's going to consist of contract writing. It's also going to consist of it's a lot. It's a whole lot. I can't even give you all of it. But come out. The link is in the description if you want to sign up for the masterclass. The promo code is up, right? I left the promo code up for like a week and some change. So congratulations. All of y'all did not use it. I want to encourage you to please still consider signing up for the masterclass. It is a pretty dope situation. And especially if you're a producer that wants to monetize off of your music, come to the masterclass. Come to the masterclass, because I think I've noticed a lot of the light bulbs go off for a lot of people that take the course, and they're just like, yo, I never thought about this like that. I never thought about this like that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that's one thing. I already told you about the Lucrative community. If you want to come to the Lucrative community, please come through. The link is in the bio. Every Sunday we're on Zoom. We're going through business. We're going through strategy. Sundays, I'm actually renaming that's going to be my mastermind hour. It's the hour of mastermind. So that's going to be my Sundays for that. Also, if you want to come to music reviews, I'm doing music reviews the first and the third Monday of each month. The first and the third Monday of each month. You want to sign up for that? Send me a DM. Send me an email. Magneto7booking. Links in the description. What else we got? I got the Beat site back up. Hey! Beat site's back up right now. So all of my independent artists y'all know how I feel about this. I do not like the Beat site, but I did this for y'all. Again, I see a need. I see an issue. A lot of y'all don't have my regular fee. guess what? You can lease beats right now. You can lease beats right now. I think I got it set at like $24.99, and then I think I'm doing specials on some Fridays. Just rock with me, rock with me. But the beat site is currently up. Last but not least, if you want to sign up for a coaching call, make sure you hit me up at magneto7booking.com. Magneto7booking at gmail.com. And we can set up. I think we got hourly fees. We also got bookings for studio time. We also got bookings for features and collaborations. It's a lot. And last but not least, we got to pay the bills. Got to pay the bills. Last but not least, if you want to promote your business on this podcast or on my music review or on Lucrative Love or any of the platforms that I built, shoot me a message to madnetworkads@gmail.com. Madnetworkads@gmail.com. And somebody will reach out to you and we can figure out what type of plan you need, whether it's a weekly plan, whether it's a monthly plan. I got you covered. I got you covered. All right, till next week. Peace.